Hello everyone, this is Ashley Tucker from My Favorite Things. Today I'm going to be making a birthday shaker card using the Perfect Birthday stamp set. And if you are looking for this stamp set on the website, you do have to spell it with P-U-R-R in the beginning because, of course, there's a cute little cat stamp in this set, so it's spelled perfect like a cat purring. And of course, that cute little cat image is one of the main reasons that I decided to use this stamp set for today's card because I really love cats. Even though I'm extremely allergic to them, I love them and I have one, even though I have been advised by my doctor to not have one. I already had one when I found out that I have allergies and I love her so much. Just between you all and me, when my doctor told me that I needed to get rid of my cat, I may or may not have cried. And then my doctor told me that maybe we could make it work with some other things. And then I felt a little bit better. Anyways, I pulled out the 3 main images from this stamp set, put them in my Misty tool, and then I stamped them onto Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. And I stamped them using a Copic-friendly black ink. Now, I'm not going to lie to you all and say that coloring this card was super easy because it absolutely wasn't. It may look easy on camera, but I really struggled coming up with colors for this, which is something that normally I don't struggle as much with, but for some reason tonight I was just struggling. I actually didn't struggle picking out colors for the little girl. I thought that that was the easy part because I just colored her as if she was my daughter, and I was picking out clothes for my daughter and what color I would want these clothes to be if she was wearing them. And that turned out to be really easy because she loves pink, so I made her outfit very pink, and I colored her hair to be a little bit similar to my daughter's hair. The real struggles came when I started coloring in the cat image. Now, I did have a test paper on the side, and I put down the colors that I used for the little girl so that I could compare. And I tested out several different colors for the present and the cat, and I just couldn't find one that I liked. So I tried to go with the one that I thought looked the best, which was this purple color combination. And you'll see that I did not color that on camera because this isn't actually the one that I end up with in the end. So I colored in the balloon, and the whole time that I was coloring in the balloon, I was looking at the cat and I was absolutely hating it. I really didn't like the way the images were all looking together. I didn't think that they were very cohesive together. So I stamped the cat image a few more times, and I actually ended up coloring it in 4 times total. And in the end, I came up with this final color combination, which I really liked. And the way that I picked this one out is I took the pinks from the outfit on the little girl, and I took the blue turquoisey color that I colored the balloon, and I added those together. And that just made the whole thing really cohesive and look good together. And I really liked the way it turned out in the end. I really don't know why it was so hard for me to do the colors on this. Normally colors is something I don't really struggle with, but like I said, I had to color this cat image in 4 times before I liked it. So I was just having a really hard time that night. And it might just be me, but I really think that that's something that can happen to us all, where we just have an off crafting night. Sometimes I sit down to make a card and it just goes so smoothly and the inspiration is just flowing. And then sometimes it just doesn't go like that, and that's okay. Normally what I'd say to do during times like those is to just step away for a little while and then come back later. Normally, if you step away for a little while and you come back, something about that time away just helps to reset your brain a little bit, and then things will go much smoother for you. Once the box was colored in, I could really pick any color combination for the cat, and I think that that would have looked good. I was really feeling a orange cat, so I went with an orange cat, but I think also a black and white or a gray cat would have looked just as good. Once the coloring was done, I die cut those out with the coordinating dies, and then I grabbed the inside and out stitched arch die set, and I grabbed the second largest arch from that set, and I cut a window out of an A2 size panel of white cardstock, and I'm going to adhere a piece of acetate to the back of that, and that's going to create the window for my shaker card. Now I did trim that down 1/4 of an inch on all of the sides after that so that I can have a small border around the edge on my card. I grabbed a piece of dark turquoise cardstock and I stamped a background stamp onto that. This is the thick and thin background stamp, and I stamped that with Versamark ink, and I'm going to emboss it using a clear embossing powder. I did prep this piece of paper with a powder tool before stamping so that I won't have any issues with the embossing. I trimmed this panel down to be just a little bit smaller than my window panel, and then I started to pick out my shaker bits. For those shaker bits, I grabbed sequins from 3 different sequin sets, and I just placed them right on top of the panel in the center. And then I grabbed my window panel and I added foam tape that's been doubled up all around the edges, and I placed that on top to close the sequins in. And I did have a little bit of the blue paper hanging off of the bottom there because I didn't get it lined up as perfectly as I could have, but that's okay because I can just use some scissors and trim that off. Next, I grabbed an A2 size card base and I used my ATG tape runner to adhere that shaker onto the card background. At this point, I started adding my stamped images. Now, I decided to adhere these with foam tape, which not only is because I like dimension, but also because I'm adhering onto acetate, and I just prefer using foam tape on top of acetate. You can use liquid adhesive, but I find that it takes a little bit longer to dry. If you do decide to use foam tape like I did, just be aware that this is going to be a pretty thick card. There's a lot of layers of foam tape here, so there's quite a bit of dimension. So keep that in mind for if you're going to be mailing this card. For my sentiment, I pulled out an older stamp set. It's an oldie but a goodie because this is the Greetings Galore stamp set, which, like it says, has greetings galore. And one of those sentiments is the Happy Birthday sentiment, which is the one I chose for this card. I stamped that with Versamark ink onto a black cardstock, and then I embossed it with a white embossing powder. I cut that out using a stitched sentiment die, and then I popped it up onto the card using some foam tape. To finish up this card, I'm not going to add any embellishments because I think that with a shaker card, usually you don't need a lot of embellishments because it's got all those fun shaker bits inside the shaker. But I am adding highlights with a white gel pen. I do really think that it's important when you have a balloon image to make sure that you use a white gel pen to add highlights. I think that it makes the balloon look a lot better. And I do think it's a really good idea to go around the entire border of the balloon and then also add a larger highlight in the center area of the balloon. After that, this card is all done. Thank you so much for joining me today for this video. I hope you really enjoyed this card design and that it gave you some ideas. I hope you all have a wonderful day today, and I'll see you next time.